Hi everybody, this is Tammy and I'm back with another video as a member of the Wild Bunch, the Wild Ochre Craft Design team. So this week I wanted to share with you some of my dangles and charms, and I'm actually making them because I want to make a chunky charm, and so I will be putting these into a chunky charm and sharing that with you next Saturday. And I'm also going to share with you the item that I am creating to store the charm in. So that's coming next weekend, but this weekend I wanted to share with you some of the different charms and dangles that I've been creating, and also show you how to make a few of them. So first let me start with my supply list, and there is a lot. So these are all the goodies that I've been using in my chunky charms. So of course I had to include some flowers. So I'm just going to start because there's a lot of them. So I've been using the Sweetheart Blossoms, and these are in baby pink, and this is MKX 347. I also use the Pastel Tone Rosebuds, and that's these here. And these are MKX 622. These are so fun and they look so cute on the dangles. And I also use some of the mixed pink tone hip rosebuds. These are GST 014. And also some of the mixed blue tone rosebuds, GST 017, hip rosebuds, GST 017. And some of the large two-tone baby pink wild rosebuds, and these are MKX 102. I love these, they're so gorgeous. And then I also use some of the mixed blue open roses, and these are in 10 millimeter, and these are MKX 074. And I use some of the two-tone baby pink and ivory 10 millimeter open roses, and these are MKX 009. I also use some white seam binding, and this is MKX 472. And some of the white double head pearl stamen, MKX 565. And I use these on all my projects. I love these. These are the two-tone light green and baby pink rose leaves, MKX 248. And I also used one of the mixed pink and white Cosmo Daisies, MKX 122. And then I used some of the two-toned wild roses, and I didn't pull one of those to share with you, but that item is QVR 040, and I will point that out to you on the project. And I used some of the flower shaped metal bead caps, MKX 398, some of the filigree corners, MKX 184, and then I used some of the ivory Tuscany roses in 30 millimeter, and these are MKX 626. So those are all the Wild Ochre Craft goodies that I used on my dangles and charms. And now let me share with you some of the other items that I used. So I love to use a variety of bead caps on my chunky charms, on my dangles. So I have a little container here with a variety of bead caps. So these are one of my favorites. So cute. And then of course I used the flower shaped bead caps from my Wild Ochre Crafts. And then these were really fun. I used several of these in my charms that I'm going to share with you today. Some of these bead caps, and these bead caps here, and these. So cute. A ton of bead caps, different shapes, sizes. I also love to use rondelle spacers. So these are the gold ones, and then I have the silver ones in two different sizes. I have some really small little filigree spacer beads, and also some of these stardust beads. Really pretty. And of course you have to use a variety of beads. So I used a variety of different beads in different colors and shapes for my projects. And then these are so cute. These are called two-tone peach bellflower beads. Really cute. So I used some of these. And then I also used some head pins. So the head pins, this is one that has the flat end. So that's a head pin. This is a decorative head pin. So instead of having a flat bottom, it has a like a little decorative piece on the end. And then this one is an eye pin. So the one with the loop on the end is called an eye pin. And then I also use some other metal pieces and spacers. Really, really cute. And then I also love to use crystals on my chunky charms and on my beads. So I used a variety of the different colors of crystals. So let me move those aside, and then I'll start sharing with you some of the oh, and I can't forget, of course you need jump rings. So you can use a jump ring, split rings, whatever's gonna, or you can do your loops directly onto your chain or whatever you're gonna hang your or create your chunky charm from. So these are some of the ones that I've made. And I want to say a big thank you to Tara, who is Nurse Tara here on YouTube. She had done a tutorial on some flower dangles that she made, and she made a comment about just using the wire that was already on the flower. And I was like, duh, how come I never thought of that? Because I would always take a head pin and just string it through the flower and then create my loops or whatever from that. Because the wire that's on the flower, let me pull one so you can see what I'm talking about. The wire that's on the end of any kind of flower is not that, I mean, it's a nice wire. I usually cut it off and just use something else, but it's not that thick of a wire, and it's kind of thin and, you know, kind of flimsy. It's not going to hold its shape if you're just doing a basic loop. But what she did is, instead of doing a basic loop, she did a wire wrap, which is a great idea because it gives it more strength, and that's not going to come apart like a basic regular loop would out of this thin wire. So thank you so much, Tara, for that idea, because I was doing it the longer way. Which I still do on some of them, because either I have a lot of flowers, or I just don't want a green wire, or I wanted just to make a basic loop on the charm. So I did do some where I just used a head pin or an eye pin instead of using the wire from the flower. So here is one that I made out of the wild rosebud. So these are the wild rosebuds. So I peeled off this leaf piece here, and then here's the charm that I made. It's so cute, a little, and I used the flower as the skirt of an angel, so I made an angel charm. So here is the wild rosebud. Here's a bead cap from my stash, the Wild Orchid Craft flower shaped bead cap, some wings that I purchased from Joann's, a glass pearl, and then also a rondelle spacer as the halo. And then I just did the wire wrap, and then I put a jump ring on it. So that's already ready to go and hang on my chunky charm. Here's another one that I used, one of the acrylic little bell-shaped bead caps. And then I just used open rose, and then some crystals, and also some rondelle spacers. And I just used the stem from the rose and created that wire wrap. And then I also put some stickles on the rose. Excuse me. And then this is one that I made using the two-tone mixed wild roses. So I actually had this metal flower. It's a white metal flower. I had that in my stash. It already had a hole and a jump ring on it. So I took the wild rose and I peeled off the bottom layer and glued that to the back of that metal flower. And then I put some eyelash trim, and then I put the rest of the rose in the center of the metal rose. So it just gave it a different element, and I really like it. So it's the rose, and then the metal, and then more of the rose. Really, really cute. And I love the eyelash trim on there. So here's one that I used with another bead cap. These are so pretty. And then I also used one of the hip rosebuds. The mixed blue tone hip rosebuds, and then a milk glass crystal, some rondelle spacers, and then an aqua crystal, and then that's all ready to hang as well. Here's another angel one that I made with a bead cap, and then another one of the hip rosebuds, and then the angel wings, a glass pearl, a rondelle. So cute. And then here's another one similar to this one here. And then that has the Wild Orchid Craft flower shaped bead cap on it and some crystals. And then this one has two of the 10mm open roses, a really beautiful spacer bead, some cloisonne beads, and then a rondelle spacer. And then here's one made out of that metal piece that I showed you. So I just glued the 10mm open roses onto this piece, and it had two holes in it. So one of them I put a jump ring to hang on my chain, and then the other end I just dangled some little beads from that one. So how pretty is that going to look hanging on a chunky charm? So cute. Here's the Cosmo Daisy. So I took one of the metal embellishments from Wild Orchid Crafts, and then I tied a bow out of the seam binding, and then I put the Cosmo Daisy right on there, and then I just hung my I attached the jump ring just to the metal piece, so that's going to hang also on the chunky charm. Here's one that I made out with the flower bead cap, and then I put some stamen, the double head pearl stamen. So I put some pearl stamen looking, you know, as if it's the stamen for the flower, and then one of the Wild Orchid Craft bead caps, and then some beads from my stash. So cute. Love that one. Here's another one with the stamen, and this is a double layer of, actually there's 3 bead caps on here. A pearl, this really beautiful bead here, and then a rondelle spacer. So cute. And this one I put the stamen in, and then I folded them over. I put they kind of have like a little bit of fabric. They're, you know, it's like a string. So I folded it over, and then I strung this through the hole in the bead caps, and then I glued them, and then I cut this off. So then I threaded a head pin through there, and then all the other beads are attached to the head pin. And then I just created a basic loop at the top of the beads out of the head pin. And this one's really pretty. These are some of the 4mm rosebuds, and then also one of the 10mm open roses, and then just some bead caps and spacers. And I used the wire on those to create loops and attach them to a head pin, and then the head pin is threaded through the bead caps. There's like 4 bead caps on here. There's 2 rondelle spacers, and then a pearl, and then there's just a basic loop at the top with a jump ring. So I love how that one dangles. And then this one is another one, and then this one, instead of using a head pin or anything, I just use the wires from the 4mm rosebuds, and then you can see I also attached some spacers and rondelles and some beads, and then I just threaded all of that through the bead caps, the rondelles, this really beautiful bead here, and then some of the stardust beads, and then just did a wire wrap on the top. I love how that one looks. And then here's another one that's very similar. And then this one is just all beads, and also the Wild Orchid Craft bead caps. I thought that one was so pretty. And then this one is the Sweetheart Blossoms. So I just threaded the Sweetheart Blossoms through the Wild Orchid Craft bead cap. And I used 3 of them so that you can't see the hole in the bottom of the bead, which is really large. And I just thought that came out so pretty. And then I just used all the wires to do a wire wrap, and then I attached a jump ring to that. And then this one is just a super cute little metal disc that I had and then I glued on this cameo, and then 2 of the 4mm rosebuds, and then I just put a jump ring, and that can hang also. And then this one is one of my favorites. I just love this one. So pretty. And this is actually one that I'm going to show you how to make, but instead of these dangles, I used some roses, some Wild Orchid Craft flowers. So let me share with you, so let's start making a few. Okay. So this is the first one. The first one we're going to make is the angel one. So here's one that I did not show you because I kept it on the tray with the items that we're going to use to make one. So here's one where I use the Tuscany rose. Oh, I love this one. It's so cute. I use the Tuscany rose as the skirt for the angel. I use one of the Wild Orchid Craft flower shaped bead caps, the angel wings, a glass pearl, a rondelle, and then just a jump ring to hang it on. So we're going to make one of those together. So this is how the Tuscany roses look. They have a little leaf on the back, or the greenery that's part of the flower. And these are some really beautiful, really shabby flowers. Love those. So you can see this one is yellow and white, and then I also put some stickles on there. But what I did is I just took a water brush and some spray that I had that I got from Michael's, and I just dipped the water, I just used a lot of water and a little bit of that spray to give it like a whitewashed effect. And I first peeled off that little greenery, and then your flower just looks like this. And then I just use the water and the spray to just color the top layer so that the bottom is still white. And that's how I ended up with that flower. So cute. So here's another one where I'm just going to keep this metal, and I'm going to use this wire as, my stem. So I just have the flower, and here I have a really pretty bead cap. So I'm just going to thread that on. And then I'm going to thread on the wings. And sometimes I'll put a jump ring, not a jump ring, a spacer or a rondelle between the bead cap and the wings. But for this one, I thought it looked pretty without it. And then I'm going to use this mixed silver and white bead as the head of the angel. And then I have my small rondelle spacer to use as the halo. So I'm going to put that on. So there it is already put together. So really quick and easy. So now the way that I do my wire wrapping, there are tons of ways to do it. This is just the way that works for me. So I just take my wire and I pull it tight, and I put it at a right angle against all of my beads. So my beads are pretty tight together. And then I have my wire. Okay, so then I'm going to take some round nose pliers, and I'm going to grip my wire. I usually put it about a finger's width from wherever the bend is. That's where I place my wire. So about a finger's width away. And then I'm going to twist my wrist away from me, all the way until that loop is almost vertical to the angel. So I'm going to take it and twist it away until, there we go. And you can see that loop is directly above the angel. So now I'm going to just start wrapping. So at this point, I take my other hand, I pull the tail of the wire, and I pull it tight against my my round nose pliers. And then I'm just going to take it and start wrapping it around the rest of the wire that's coming from the top of the rondelle. So I'm going to do that about 4 times. Sorry, I keep hitting the camera. Okay. And then I'm going to straighten up my loop so that it's, nice and sitting top at the, at the top of the beads that I have. And then I'm going to take some flush cutters, and my flush cutters, I'm going to use the flat part. I'm going to put that against the beads, and then that's going to give me a really close cut to the, so it's going to be a really close cut to everything else that's there. And then I'm just going to use some other pliers to just kind of like flatten that piece and make sure that it's not sticking out and that's not going to scratch anything. So there, that's done. All I need to do is add a jump ring, and then that's ready to hang on to my chunky charm. So cute. And then I'd also probably add some stickles to the skirt because I love stickles. So that's that one. So pretty. These came out so pretty. Okay, so that's the first one that I wanted to show you how to make. And now let me share with you the next one. Okay, so this is the next one. And if you watched my stick pin tutorial, this will look really familiar because I made a stick pin that looked really similar to this. But this one is a dangle. So I'm going to do the same thing, show you how to make this and make it into a dangle. So I use 2 of these type of bead caps. But I take my round nose pliers, and this bead cap is made out of like 4 little pieces that are pressed together. So I pull them out a little bit, and then I just take my pliers, and then I just bend them to create little curls or flower petals. So I'm turning these actually into little flowers. So I do that to all 4 sides, and then I layer them. I layer 2 of them on. So here's the one I made. Here's another one that I've already made. So then I'm just going to layer these on top of each other. And then it made a little flower. So here I'm going to use one of the hip rosebuds. The pink tone hip rosebuds. Love these flowers. And I'm going to thread that through the 2 bead caps. Making sure that the petals on the bead caps are, you know, alternating. And then I'm going to pull down my hip rosebud as tight as I can to get it to fit in there really nicely. And then I'm just going to start layering on some beads. So here I'm going to put this really pretty bead here, and then I'll put a rondelle spacer, and then I think I'll put another one of those beads. And then I'm just going to add a couple stardust beads. So there, that looks like that. Really pretty. I love the pinks and the beads match the pink in the flower, and that they're also roses on the beads. Okay, so now I'm just going to still do the same wire wrapping again, so you can see that again. So I'm just going to pull this wire, pull it up tight, and then pull it over so that it's making like an L. And then I'm just going to do my wire wrapping. So I'm going to grab the wire, and I'm going to twist it away from me until my wrist is vertical above all the beads. And then when I pull this away, you'll see that that loop is almost directly over all of my beads. Then I'm going to take the tail end, pull it tight against my pliers, and then just start wrapping it around the stem of the wire. And that's pretty good. Straighten up my wire so that the loop is still directly above all the beads. And then I'm going to pull it over a little bit so that I can get the end of that wire really nicely, and use my flush cutters to snip off that end. And then there, that's off. And then using my other pliers to flatten that, and then to pull my loop directly back over all the beads. So there, that one's done. Really quick. Really fast. These go so fast once you just start. I think the hardest part is picking out the beads and what goes with what and how you want it to look, but actually stringing it all together is really quick and easy. So love those two. Okay, so the last one I'm going to share with you is the dangle, the flower. Really pretty. So this one I haven't showed you. I showed you a similar one. So this is the one with only beads and bead caps. Now here's another one that I used the 10mm open roses as the dangles, and they just dangle freely, and I think they're so cute. I love this one. Is my favorite. Okay, so what we need for this is 2 of the 10mm open roses. So I'm going to use these out of that the mix pack, the mixed blue open roses. So I'm going to use these 2. And then I also need some crystals and some spacer beads. So here I'm going to use these 2 milk glass crystals and then these stardust spacer beads. Okay, so I'm going to string those up right now. So here is, I'm just going to put a crystal and a stardust bead. And do the same with this one, the crystal and the stardust bead. Okay, and now I need my little bell bead cap. So here's this one I'm going to use that matches those flowers really nicely. And then I also need an eye pin. So here's my eye pin. The eye pin, remember, is the one with the loop at the end. And I'm going to string that up through my little bellflower bead cap. So this eye pin, this eye here, is what I'm going to attach my flowers to. So I'm just going to take my flowers and I'm going to do, I need to kind of like measure them out so that they're at different heights. So I'm going to do the first one here, and I'm just going to do a wire wrap. So I'm just going to take my wire, twist it away from me, and then twist the little tail a few times onto the remaining stem of the wire. And then there that is. And then I'm just going to cut off this excess. Okay, and then tuck that little piece that's sticking out right there. So there that is. And you can see I'm going to use my little pliers to open up this eye pin. And whenever you're working with eye pins or jump rings, remember to open them by twisting them this way. Never open them out like that, because you're most likely never ever going to get them back to the shape they were. So you can see I twisted it up, and so now it's open like that. And I'm just going to put this on so you can see how already that's going to dangle. So that's pretty. So this one's really low. I need to make this one a lot higher. So I'm going to do my wire wrapping again, but closer to all the beads. And then twist it, and then do my wrapping. Okay. And then cut off the remaining piece. And then, okay. And then I'm going to put this onto the eye pin. And then that's a perfect height. So now I'm going to close up the loop on my eye pin. I'm just going to twist it right back, and it should close up the way that it was. Perfect. So I'm going to string that through my little bellflower bead cap, and then I'm going to put on the Wildworker Craft flower shaped bead cap. So pretty. And then a little spacer bead, and then a little another spacer bead. And now this is a wire, so I can't, and this is a pretty thick wire, so I'm not going to do a wire wrap. I'm just going to create a basic loop. But I pretty much start the same way. I'm just going to make a right angle with my wire. I pulled it tight against all my beads, and then I made a right angle, and now I'm going to cut off this excess part, because for me, cutting it off and then making my loop makes it easier for me to make my loop. Some people leave it on and then make their loop and then cut off the excess, but for me it's it's easier this way. Okay, so there it is after I cut off the excess of the wire. Now I'm just going to take my my round nose pliers and grip the end of this wire, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to twist my wrist away from me. So I'm gripping the end of the wire, and I'm just going to twist, and then I'm just grabbing the beads at the base so that I have something sturdy, and then I'm just going to roll my wrist, and it creates that loop, and you can see it's almost formed. It just has a little piece. And then at this point, when I do these, I don't use a jump ring. I just attach this directly to my chain. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish closing it. So it's still open a little bit. So like I said, I'm just going to finish closing it. So I'm just going to grip it and then keep going round until it closes. So then there is that one. And this one I think is my favorite because I just love the way those flowers dangle off out of the bead cap. So, so, so cute. So that is my share for today. My all of my little charms that I'm making for my chunky charm that I will be sharing with you next week. So, so pretty. And I can't wait to start adding these to my and start creating my chunky charm, which let me share with you where it's at now. So this is the start of my chunky charm. So I usually take a large jump ring and then just dangle chain from it. So I have 5 strands of chain and they're all at different heights or different lengths. So that's the start of my chunky charm. So I'm just going to take these dangles and these charms and then just start placing them on different places on the charm and just filling it in, making it really pretty, really chunky. So I can't wait to actually put it all together and then share it with you next week. And then also for the hanger, I usually use the Tim Holtz swivel clasps, and as you know, they come in different colors and different sizes. Or either I'll use these charms, these lobster clasps that I usually purchase from Joann's, and these also come in different sizes. And these are actually key rings, so they give you all the stuff to make a key ring. But I just take all this other part off and just use the swivel. And then if I use the Tim Holtz ones, because these are not silver and I want them more to match the chain, then I will actually use some Adirondack mixative. And so for this chunky charm, I use the silver. And I usually don't use all of the chain that's hanging on the swivel clasp. I'll take some of that off. And then I'll just sprinkle it with the mixative, and it holds the color really nicely. So I hope you come back next week and join me and see how my chunky charm turned out. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. And I hope that you found, my little tutorial easy to follow, and that it made sense, and that you can see, you could see how pretty simple it is to make these dangles and charms. And they come out so beautiful, and they're so fun. And then after you add in all the, wonderful Wild Orchid Craft products, they are even, more beautiful. So thank you so much for stopping by and also for watching. And I hope you're all having a really great day. Bye.